Ever since I was at the age of about 7 years old, I have one core memory, and that was going to an auction in London where I got to see an absolutely ludicrous looking car where a man let me sit in it, showed me all around it, and started a passion for this very strange Swedish brand. The brand, Koenigsegg, and the man was Tommy Wareham, the head of SupperVettura, the Koenigsegg dealership in the UK. Now, several years on, with a lot of being surrounded by some fairly exciting cars, but none to the level of a Koenigsegg, we ended up at Geneva Motor Show, more specifically in 2015, where with an intoxication of alcohol, excellent fun and lack of water, we somehow ended up laying a deposit for the car you see next to me, the Koenigsegg Regera. 2,169 days later, we're here, having owned two Koenigsegg's, the first one known as Arctico, the Koenigsegg Regera R, something that was very raw and thoroughly enjoyable, and something that entered us into one of the greatest social gatherings you could ever expect. Instead of buying a car, you were buying into a family, a group of people who would forever form a bond with. And then, once the Regera turned up, we sold the Regera to own this incredible machine. So in November in 2019, I was flown over to Sweden to come check on the process of the build of the Regera. It was a fairly normal visit to Koenigsegg for us. It was go over to the factory, be picked up by Daniel, who is now, pleased to say, a friend of mine, and had a delicious lunch. We were sitting in the room where you always have lunch. It was myself, Christian, I remember Haldora popping and having a nice chat, and we just talked about generally everything. And Haldora then came back and said, "Zach, we want to show you something." So when someone at Koenigsegg, especially Mrs. Koenigsegg, says to you, "We want to show you something," you do it. And I remember walking through, and for the first time in my life, I saw this, and it wasn't part done, it was finished. And for the first time in my life, I was speechless. I remember the first time driving the Regera was with Christian in the passenger seat. Admittedly, I was in complete shock at the time because I was expecting to see, well, not a fully built car, and this car was almost ready for delivery. Several months later, the car was in the UK, being handed over to us for us to start our, what turned out to be, rather epic adventure of owning one of the greatest cars ever made. Over 9,000 miles we did in the Regera. We have done multiple countries, endless events. We've been fortunate enough to be able to share the Koenigsegg brand with you guys, let people sit in the car, really make Koenigsegg a much more upfront brand for people to be able to get up close and personal with it, just like I had back in the day when Tommy let me sit in the CCX. 2,169 days. It's a long time, and it's the time in which we have owned a Koenigsegg, something that I can guarantee you myself, my family, no one around us ever thought we would say, let alone be sitting now in an extraordinary circumstance in Essen in Germany, surrounded by Koenigseggs, and the first thing that I'm now doing isn't rushing to see the cars, take photos, to sit in it. It's me enjoying the company of people like Marcus and other people who make the brand. And that's what you buy into. You're not buying the supercar, you're not buying the hypercar, you're not buying the fastest car in the world. You're buying into a community of people who you can never meet, and then all of a sudden meet, and their family. It is one of the most extraordinary things you will ever experience. We are currently in Germany, more specifically Koenigsegg Germany, Essen Automotive. It is the end of October, the beginning of November. The car is going to go to the final event that it will be in our ownership with. That will be Supercar Madness at the Essen circuit. If this video goes out beforehand, awesome. If it doesn't, no problem. The car will then be sent to our dear friends at SupperVettura in England, where it will be put up for sale. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be wondering, why are we selling the Regera? You know, it's done low mileage, 9,000 miles in general isn't that much. Well, the fact is, there is not a part of me that wishes to sell this car. Not a drop. We've done 9,000 amazing miles in it. We've opened up new adventures, met some of the most intriguing people, had some of the most emotional, enjoyable, frantic times over the last few years with the car. So no, there is not a part of me who wishes to sell it. But there is a part of me that wants to find out what else is out there in the world in terms of hypercars. And there are, well, as you can see, there's a lot of alternatives just in this room. So do we have something lined up? I guess we'll see. But for now, it will be goodbye for the Regera. I will miss it dearly. For years, people have said to me, what's your favourite car in the collection? And for years, I've never once said, because I never really had a favourite. But knowing that this will no longer be in the collection, well, I must admit, I will miss this probably more than anything else. What are the core memories of owning this Koenigsegg? Well, whilst the time has been in our ownership, I think the main one, well, the first one was definitely the surprise of the car being, well, ready pretty much, and being able to drive it around the local area of Ängelholm with Christian von Koenigsegg, someone for years who I looked up to, never thought I'd be sitting next to, and now I am fortunate enough to call a friend. That was definitely a core memory. Taking it on I think we did 4,000 kilometers in just under a week and a half. We did the Koenigsegg Owners Tour, and then we went around Europe. Some of you guys may have seen the footage on Instagram, some of it maybe drips and drabs on YouTube, but we had an amazing time. The car completely faultless. We had some rather amusing memories. In the days where this was a very early car, I remember the boot seal wasn't quite sealed properly because, as I said, this was one of the first Regeras. And I remember a little bit of water got in there, and when we went to take the car shopping, because, well, we used the car, some of the shopping was floating. And that was a bit of a surprise. Other core memories was when we went to VMAX. In fact, it was the last ever VMAX, admittedly for some poor reasons, but it was the last ever VMAX. And amazingly, we set the record at VMAX with this car, 250 mile an hour down the runway. It was a fairly short runway as well. It was driven by Ollie Webb. The video went viral. You will be able to see the video right here. And it was just a crazy day. I remember the wind was blowing, there was a little bit of rain, we were nearly calling it off. We even had engineers flown out from Koenigsegg to help make the decision, to help monitor the car, make sure everything was okay. Admittedly, they didn't do anything different to what the car sits here. We didn't change the tyres, nothing. And I remember the feeling of when it went across that finish line and people just went mental with how fast it went. And that was the last ever VMAX I did. So this car sits, and I think probably will always sit as the fastest car in England, which is pretty damn cool. Talking about views then, we've had YouTubers from across the world filming this. People who I used to watch their videos as a kid and now call them friends, go on adventures with them. People with the likes of Shmee 150, Parker, Vehicle Virgins, other people who you guys have seen endless on my channel. And I think they've got a little message to say.
From the road, thanks for watching.
From the desert in Dubai, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Now from the road, thanks for watching.
As for the future of what Zach's Garage holds, what hypercar will replace this? Well,
We follow the motto of the Ghost Squadron: the show must go on.
owning this car has been nothing short of a privilege, almost as much of a privilege as it has been to be a part of the Koenigsegg family. Something that I know our family have enjoyed, not just me, not just my mother, not just my father, but everyone have enjoyed. And the person who ends up buying this car, first of all, congratulations. You've got one of the best spec Koenigsegg Regeras in the world. In fact, I would say it definitely is. Maybe I'm biased. But also, please enjoy it. Don't stick it in a garage, it's not worth it. These cars are built to be driven, they're built to be enjoyed. Do what we did with it. Don't be afraid of sticking mileage on it. Get in it, take people out in it, show people how crazy these things are, and just don't stop smiling with it. I would also like to thank our dear friends at Koenigsegg UK, SupperVettura and Sunningdale. Tommy, Paul, James, George, and all the guys who work at SupperVettura have been nothing but amazing. They have dealt with everything with utmost professionalism. They have also done it with kindness, and also, when things got more stressful, dealt with it in the most amazing way. I'm thankful to call them my friends, but not just that. I'm also thankful for all of the Koenigsegg dealerships, people who I can now call friends. I remember attending just this year the Koenigsegg dealership convention. Well, I don't know if you know, but I'm not a Koenigsegg dealership. I mean, I'm a mediocre YouTuber. Why would I be at a Koenigsegg dealership? But I did get invited to this, and with getting invited to the Koenigsegg dealership conference, I was socialising with people who generally owners wouldn't be socialising with. But I was amongst people who knew me, who I knew, I'd been on holidays with. I mean, we're here at ESSA Automotive. I've never once bought a Koenigsegg from Koenigsegg Germany, yet Marcus and all the guys here, I'm happy to call my friends. We've done so many things together, and I hope we can continue it.